Coming from a village where you had a lot of running around, freedom, and then suddenly you are put there, it must have been quite intimidating for him.
So then I think once a month, my mother came. So when my mother came, I feel very happy. Then my mother about depart, I feel little uncomfortable, little sad.
While the young boy studied, a monk regent took the role of Tibet's temporal leader until the Dalai Lama reached the age of majority. Regent Retting, seen here with his enormous bodyguard, the Tukpa, oversaw much of this power vacuum, but his regime was seen as corrupt. He was displaced and then imprisoned after an attempted coup. He died in jail. The Dalai Lama had to wait to take full political power, but as the country's spiritual leader, he acted as a figurehead. One of the 5-year-old's official duties was attending cabinet meetings. His strict routine only varied for the important festivals. The festival of the votive offering took place in the eastern courtyard of the Potala Palace. It was a deeply significant solemn occasion in which all the sins and bad events from the previous year were purged, clearing the way for the next. The yellow-hatted monks of Dalai Lama's own Namgyal monastery join the government and civil officials as they prostrate themselves in front of His Holiness. Watching from the top floor is the Dalai Lama. The main event of the votive offering is the Chum, a tantric dance. Accompanied by drummers and trumpets, dancers emerge into the courtyard. They have spent many hours in meditation, envisioning themselves as a deity they're about to perform. Uza Naring Tashi was one of these dancers and later taught Chum dancing.
Now here are the Chum dancers making their entrance. I have performed this dance myself. This is performed on the last day of the Tibetan calendar year. As the New Year is approaching, it's performed as an auspicious ritual to make sure that during the following year there is enough rain when we need it, that no misfortunes happen, that we are protected from any negative forces, and that there is peace in the world. That's why we perform the Cham dance. This one with the horns in the middle is the principal character of the Cham dance, the Thamjin Chögyal. Ringed around him are 22 black hat dancers and 16 masked dancers. Teaching the stag dance is very difficult, especially as they start as young boys. I found it very hard myself. Although he looked like an adult, he's actually a boy. He would probably be about 12, 13, or maybe even 14. I remember being very anxious and scared during the performance in case we made a mistake, because if you got anything wrong, discipline was very strict. Even if you made a tiny mistake, you'd be punished. Only young boys are agile enough to perform this. Your Cham teachers train you. Because the training involves a lot of kneeling, you'd get lots of cuts and bruises on your knees, and you'd get beatings too. Only through such strict training can you achieve perfection. When we began our training and were learning how to do the black hat dance, the repetitive arm and leg movements made you very stiff. So stiff that it would be really uncomfortable to sit cross-legged for the prayer sessions. The costumes were very heavy and difficult to wear, but if you didn't wear them, you would look too puny. You wouldn't look the part, so there was packing to beef you up. You'd get very stuffy inside the mask. The performance would last 3 hours, and the whole affair would be at least 3 hours.
At the end of the ceremony, a cathartic fire purification rite is performed to ensure that the last traces of evil are dispelled.
Now you can see they are heating up oil in a cauldron. Later they'll add home or alcohol. In this ritual, you fill a human skull with alcohol, and then you pour it into the boiling oil.
Tibetan Buddhism differs from other types because it has its roots in the traditions of the earlier Bon religion. Therefore there's a belief in gods and celestial beings, but also there are various traditions that involve all Tibetan society in the practice of Buddhism. Now Tibetans believe that their prayers can be given added power by being conducted by means of a prayer wheel. Here's a prayer wheel. Walking round the wheel means that my prayers have the power, all the written prayers, inside this wheel. Incredible. Also, there are flags and beads which have a similar thing, prayers through repetition. And the mantras are used to really gain merit and to help one on one's path to enlightenment. Prayer wheels can contain up to a mile of written prayers. They are symbolically recited with every turn. Pilgrims earn merit and concentrate their minds on the mantras they are reciting as the wheel turns. The circular 5-mile walk which surrounded Lhasa was known as the Linkor. On the festival days, pilgrims would start walking early in the morning. Artemisia, scrub rhododendron, and juniper twigs were burnt, and the air would be filled with incense. A new Linkor has been created at McLeod Ganj. It surrounds the Dalai Lama's own residence up there. This replaces the sacred path lost at Lhasa. Pilgrims now walk it. This is a particularly busy day. It's a festival day. These days, I say, they just walk it. In the past, pilgrims would prostrate themselves along the route. And that was done rather like this. One simply stops, says a prayer, and then one measures one's length on the ground, right way down to the bottom and up again. And so one goes, right around the path. I put my feet where my head was and down I go again. Difficult process, but it was to show respect and compassion for all thinking beings, to remove negative forces and to gain merit, to help one on one's path to enlightenment. Jampa Chodan was a young nun living in Lhasa at the time.
This is the Linkor, the long circuit just beyond Chokpuri Hill. A shot is taken of the section just below Chokpuri Hill. There used to be people carving mantras on stones, making clay statues, and many places where you could make incense offerings. there would be many people walking the lingo. Down here, there would be people doing the half sideways prostrations as well as the forward prostrations. I didn't manage to do any sideways prostrations, but I managed to do one circuit doing the forward prostrations. Here they're making the descent. Sometimes when you're prostrating here, you would nearly fall down. I did a lingo circuit. I took 6 days and morning. In the midday sun, you couldn't do the prostration, so you would have a rest. Friends would bring you a meal, so you would have a lunch break. People would normally get up early and start at dawn.
Jampa Sultram and Tenzing Choni Tara also did the Lingkor circuit.
When they used to do the old Lingkor circuit, it used to take about 2 hours. But during Buddhist festivals, people weren't satisfied with merely walking it. They would prostrate themselves all the way around. So, as we were talking about this yesterday, it turns out that we both happened to have done the full body-length prostrations and made the full circuit. It would vary how long it would take to do the full body-length prostrations, depending on the individual. The fast ones would do it in 3 to 4 days. Others might do it in short stages, so it would take about 7 to 8 days to do the full circuit. Wherever you ended the day, you'd leave a mark, and then you'd resume from there the next day. He said yesterday he did it in 4 days. The reason for doing the prostrations is to accumulate merit and to cleanse yourself of your negativities. It's an entirely spiritual activity.
Now here are some pilgrims who have come from villages far away. They have come for the Malam festival. You can see that they are carrying their provisions in bags on their back. There were people coming from all different directions. Some would beg, some would offer prayers, and some would give alms to the beggars. One was free to do what one wished. You would give soup, tea, or money to earn merit. There is somebody ladling out some tsamba for the beggars.
On the day to celebrate the Buddha's enlightenment, the Lingkor is especially crowded. Many people are begging for alms.